Today on Variant, we talk about how Spawn's costume has evolved over the years. Welcome to Variant. We love comics more than Spawn really wants his wife Wanda back. I'm your host, Arris. Today we're debuting another brand new segment called Art Of. The Art Of segment will be a place where I break down the visual evolution of a character from the way he or her looked when they were created, all the way to the character's current look and design. And this week I picked Spawn to kick off our very first Art Of segment because, well, Spawn is awesome and has evolved quite a bit since his creation back in 1992. But without any further ado, let's see how Spawn's evolved over the years. Spawn made his first full appearance in Spawn issue 1 and was created and designed by the great Todd McFarlane. In this issue, we got our very first costume / design for Spawn and the basis that would inspire all of Spawn's designs over the years. By Spawn issue 9, Todd McFarlane already gave Spawn a costume change, giving us medieval Spawn, which actually holds a special place in my geek heart. Because I remember getting the action figure for this Spawn as well as the classic Spawn I just mentioned at the same time because KB Toys had a buy one get one free deal going on at the time. Do you guys remember KB Toys? I sure do. That store was the jam. They always had great deals on action figures and whatnot. Although, that has nothing to do with the rest of this episode. By Spawn issue 21, McFarlane gave us what's known as Shoelace Face Spawn, which is when Spawn had his face stitched up with a shoelace. It was originally thought that this happened because of the previous Spawn Batman crossover story, where Batman throws a batarang smack dab in the middle of Spawn's face. But of course, both parties refused to admit that the crossover was part of continuity, and the shoelace stitch was later attributed to Houdini. But nonetheless, Al Simmons looks awesome with the stitches down his face. After 20 plus issues of drawing Spawn, Todd McFarlane handed the drawing duties over to one of my all-time favorite artists and current Batman artist, Greg Capullo. One of the first changes Greg Capullo would give Spawn is a tattered cape. By issue 32, however, we got a whole new design for Spawn, which I simply just call Capullo's Spawn. His overall design stayed the same, but with several updates and changes. Spawn now had a huge spiked red gauntlet on his right hand, several spikes added to his left forearm, the pouches on his thigh were now on his left thigh instead of his right, more spikes added to his left lower leg, and a huge spike boot added to his right foot, which was the most notable change for me, and I love it. Capullo also got rid of the red that was under the white line patterns on his torso, leaving it black like the rest of his costume. There are a few more changes here and there, but you guys get the point. Capullo's version of Spawn is definitely one of my all-time favorites. Capullo also gave us what's known as Commando Spawn in issue 55, which definitely brings Al Simmons back to his military roots. After drawing Spawn for several years, Capullo eventually left the book. The next major cosmetic change we would get for Spawn is when artist Philip Tan took over the Spawn drawing duties in Spawn issue 150. His rendition of Spawn is basically just a stripped down version where Spawn has no spikes on his costume and no red gauntlets, pouches, or big red boot. By Spawn issue 166, Brian Haberlin took the helms of Spawn and gave Al his gauntlet back, as well as various other spikes. After this, Inigo Medina and Bing Casino brought another costume for Spawn in issue 174, which we know as Gunslinger Spawn. By issue 179, we got a World War II design for Spawn. Changing again, Spawn 185 gave us a brand new Spawn, Jim Downing, as Al Simmons killed himself. And of course, with a brand new person taking up the Spawn mantle came a brand new costume, which is known as Spiky Spawn, done by Wills Portacio. In issue 201, Seaman gave Jim Downing a more classic Spawn costume, which was very similar to Capullo's version. In Spawn 218, Spawn's cape was ditched and replaced with wings in the Wings of Redemption story. And just for the sake of mentioning it, you have Omega Spawn, which as you can see is all pimped out. And that, my friends, brings us to the most current Spawn suit, which is being done by JonBoy Meyers, who took over the drawing duties in Spawn 251, which is actually the issue where Al Simmons fully returns as Spawn. But JonBoy also did the Spawn Resurrection one-shot, which led into and set the stage for Spawn 251. JonBoy's rendition of Spawn has a tattered cape, slight modifications to classic elements like his big old spiked boot. He has his gauntlet or glove back on his right hand, but definitely the biggest change to the suit is having an open mouth with sharp teeth and all. I'm really digging this new look for Spawn. He looks extremely menacing and updated, yet he still has all those classic elements us Spawn fans have come to love over the years. But rather than just hearing me all by my lonesome talk about the current Spawn design, I actually had a chance to sit down and talk to the current Spawn artist, JonBoy Meyers. So let's see what he had to say about taking over such an iconic character and updating his look. So taking over a character that's been, been running for so long, and it's almost like a character where, not even almost, it's just as recognizable as the X-Men or Spider-Man or, like even though it's not on DC or Marvel, it's just as known. It's like in that top 10 or 5. So like, was there any pressure going into it? I know you told us earlier, talking to Todd and stuff, was it like...
Yeah, I mean, like, because Todd is so synonymously linked to Spawn that, I mean, the two big guys are Capullo and Todd, and going in there, it's like, dude, I'm nowhere near as good as either of those guys. Todd and Paul are really great about like, look, dude, just be you and don't feel like you have to look at any of that stuff. Just make it yours and have fun with it. And that's what I've been trying to do. And Todd was really good about it and very gracious too, because he goes, look, man, he goes, you're going to get a lot of flack for a lot of stuff. And he goes, just be true to what you want to do on the book. Because he goes, free reign artistically. He goes, do whatever you want.
Awesome.
But you know, I don't want to make Spawn so alien that you don't understand, like, you know, like who this character is. It's just I want to do something different with the character. Like, I don't want to do the Todd McFarlane Spawn. I don't want to do the Greg Capullo or Philip Tan or Shimon version of Spawn. I want to do my own. And so, like it or hate it, some people don't like the kind of like Venom-esque mouth and stuff like that. But that's something I actually picked up from Capullo. Capullo, toward the end of his run, was doing that.
Right, yeah.
And I kind of like that. I'm like, well, it's kind of like a grinning skull. So I was like, that's cool. I'll kind of do my thing with it. And it's hard, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, I get my opportunity to make my mark on the character. And how often does an artist get a chance to do his own interpretation of a character? It's like saying, well, you know, just do your own take of Batman and have fun with it. And you're like, okay. So most people like the mouth. Like, everyone's like, you know what, dude, you're kind of doing something different to it. You're kind of
It's your own.
Oh, yeah. But for the most part, people are like, yeah, I like this, I don't like that. And I'm trying to listen to people. I'm like, okay, cool. So maybe going back, you know, Todd said, like, after 6 issues, you'll really get back into finding what your own take on the character is. He goes, you know, and dude, I want to cut his arm off. I want to do it. Like, cut it off.
So this is like an exclusive. You guys heard it first. If that happens like 10 issues from now, you heard the John said here that he wants to cut Spawn's arm off.
I do. Like, the idea of like having him deal with that and like being mortal and having those things kind of helps redefine the character a little bit. But you know, he has that amazing costume that makes cool things. So okay, he had like some demon arm now.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just going to say, I was like, when doing that artistically, that opens you up to a lot of new stuff, because it's like a symbiote type suit where now it could be like an axe, or like you said, like a demon arm, or just anything, I guess, whatever you want it to do.
Yeah, that's what we're training with the suit. Like the suit, like in 252 is really interesting. There's a new wrinkle about the symbiote that we find out, and I don't want to spoil it here, but definitely pick it up. It's kind of like, oh crap, what?
So we get new powers?
Well, the thing about Spawn's suit is he's never realized this, because like the reason why he used guns is because there was a limit on his power.
Right.
But now he has full access to his powers, but he's still immortal. So if he gets shot, the suit can help mend him, right? I don't think in my opinion, I don't think he can regrow on a new appendage though. But like, that's up to Todd and Paul. But the idea is, if Spawn wants a gun or a sword or he wants to fly, he can make bat wings out of his suit.
Right.
So if he wants a gun, boom, it makes a gun for him, and he can shoot it and do whatever he wants. So you're going to see that start training in the issues later on, where Al starts figuring these things out. He's like, oh, you know, like, I can do this? Like, hell yeah.
Well, as far as you were talking about it, but as far as your interpretation of Spawn, so what are some of your influences? Because now you could, like you said, Todd said, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So, you know, you can give him teeth, you can make his cape shorter, you could kind of probably change stuff here. Is there anything you wanted to keep from, you know, Capullo or McFarlane? Or...
I like the idea of the cape feeling more like a bat type wings. He is supernatural. He's our version of Batman. So it's my way of like, so when he's like jumping through the air, you're going to see kind of like it has a feeling of like kind of leathery bat wings a little bit. And I like Capullo's take on like more of the grinning skull type thing. So I like making him feel supernatural, because when the symbiote kind of takes over, he is kind of more supernatural. You know, the further away from human we can go, that's really cool. It makes him completely different. There is a metamorphosis that happens with the character. So I kind of want to keep bringing those elements into it and making it kind of crazier and crazier.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed me picking JonBoy's brain about Spawn, but that was actually just a little piece of a conversation that we had. I will be putting up the whole interview later this week. Also, JonBoy was nice enough to send over a bunch of his prints that he signed for me to give away to you guys. And he sent me a signed copy of Spawn issue 251 that he also drew a sketch of Spawn on. Now you may be saying, how do I win all this stuff, Arris? Well, I'm about to explain it to you. All you have to do to enter is like our Variant Facebook page and follow us on Twitter, which the links for both our Variant Facebook page and Twitter account are in the description below. Once you've liked our Facebook page and followed our Twitter account, Facebook or tweet the link to this video with the hashtag VariantSpawn. Or you can Facebook and tweet the link to this video with the hashtag VariantSpawn for a better chance to win. Double those chances. Because I'll be choosing one winner from Facebook and one winner from Twitter every day for the next 5 days. But one of those 10 winners will be getting the signed Spawn 251 issue that also has an original Spawn sketch on it by JonBoy himself. So again, like our Variant Facebook page, follow our Variant Twitter account, Facebook, or tweet or both the link to this video with the hashtag variantspawn. And through searching the hashtag, I'll pick one winner from Facebook and one winner from Twitter every day for the next 5 days starting today, June 10th, and ending June 15th. So happy tweeting and Facebooking. Also be sure to follow JonBoy on Twitter here and on Facebook here. He's a super nice guy and he draws one hell of a spawn. First up for Wednesday, June 10th, we have Marvel Zombies Issue 1. Elsa Bloodstone is stationed on the shield, burdened with the task of keeping the zombie hordes from rampaging through Battleworld. Here we have Earth 2 Society Issue 1. The survivors of Earth 2's war with Apocalypse find themselves on a new world, but can Green Lantern, Power Girl, and a new Batman and the other heroes of Earth 2 create a new world that's better than their last. Here we have Batman Superman Issue 21. In this new storyline, we see how Superman gets along with the all-new Batman. And finally, we have Batman Issue 41. The all-new Batman makes his debut and a new era in Gotham City begins. Before I leave you guys, I just want to say thank you to JonBoy for taking time out of your busy day drawing Spawn to sit down and chat with me. He's a super nice guy and a great artist, so be sure to follow him on all his social media and put the links for that in the description. But alas, I have to leave you guys for another week. But as always, you can like our very Facebook page to keep up the show and all things comic related. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Arris_Quinones. But I will see you guys next week. We'll talk about all things comics.
Working on the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe stuff back in the 90s. And then after that, I landed Spider-Man, and I did that for Marvel for like, I think 8 years, working on various Spider-Man titles. And I went to DC, worked on some Justice League and Wildstorm stuff, and kind of did a lot of stuff like that. Then I started to get into things outside of comics, like working in animation, worked on a Thor cartoon.